Over the past several years, wolves have gradually returned to many rural and mountainous regions across Russia.
Together and move.
For biologists, this is often viewed as a sign that ecosystems are recovering. But for many ranchers and livestock owners, the growing presence of these predators has created new challenges. From large farms bordering dense forests to remote mountain communities, signs of wolf activity are becoming increasingly common. Wolves track livestock, use the terrain to their advantage, and sometimes cause significant losses for farmers. Once a pack establishes territory in an area, the pressure on livestock can persist for months, forcing rural communities to continually search for more effective ways to protect their animals. As pressure from wolf packs continues to grow, many ranch owners have been forced to invest heavily in protecting their livestock. They install surveillance cameras, reinforce fencing, use warning systems, and hire professional wildlife control teams when necessary.
Come along.
However, unlike many opportunistic predators, wolves are highly coordinated pack hunters. They memorize terrain, learn from experience, and quickly change their behavior when they sense danger. This turns wolf management into a prolonged battle strategy, where even a small mistake can undo weeks of preparation. In modern wildlife management, steel foothold traps are considered one of the most important tools in areas experiencing high levels of predation. However, deploying them is far more complex than many people assume. Control teams spend days surveying the landscape, searching for tracks, for caught on fences, scent marking locations, and the travel routes wolves use most often. Every trap is carefully positioned to take advantage of the animal's natural movement patterns rather than forcing them toward a specific location. Before any trap is set, specialists typically monitor the area using infrared cameras and motion sensors to better understand behavior of the entire pack. They record activity times, approach routes, and locations where wolves frequently stop to observe their surroundings. The most important objective is to avoid making the area appear unusual. Even the slightest sign of danger can cause an entire pack to change its route and disappear from the area for weeks. As a result, most of the operation is spent watching and waiting rather than actually setting traps. Once a suitable location has been identified, steel foothold traps are installed along natural travel corridors. These pathways often develop over many years of repeated use, following creek banks, mountain passes, and forest edges where wolves feel safest. Rather than moving randomly across the landscape, most wolf packs rely on familiar routes that have been used for generations. Understanding these invisible corridors greatly increases control effectiveness without expanding the area of intervention. However, even with increasingly advanced surveillance technology and years of field experience, managing wolves remains a difficult task. They work as a team, remember their surroundings, and adapt their behavior quickly. An area that remains quiet for several months can suddenly show fresh signs of wolf activity after a single breeding season. When one route becomes heavily monitored, new travel corridors often emerge deeper in the forest or farther away from areas with regular human activity. Ultimately, the story of wolves is about far more than steel foothold traps, surveillance equipment, or wildlife control programs. It highlights the complexity of balancing wildlife conservation with the protection of human livelihoods. Every improvement in management brings new challenges because the opponent is not a simple animal, but an intelligent predator that has adapted to its environment for thousands of years. And in the end, the question remains, are humans truly controlling the return of wolves, or are we simply learning to live alongside a part of nature that never completely disappeared?
Beneath the night sky of Wyoming, wolf howls echoed from the distant pine forests. At first, they appeared only occasionally near the end of winter, but within a few years, their tracks began showing up around most grazing areas. Young calves disappeared during the night. Fences were damaged, and many ranchers spent sleepless nights patrolling their property. What worried them most was not just the growing losses, but the remarkable coordination of wolf packs that had become accustomed to living near human activity. As the attacks increased, many ranchers realized that traditional methods were no longer effective. Bows, firearms, and guard dogs could not reliably stop wolves operating under the cover of darkness.
Got it.
Instead of reacting after each incident, they began adopting behavior-based management systems designed to make grazing areas less favorable for predators. Wildlife specialists started studying travel routes, activity patterns, and the way wolf packs selected targets before approaching livestock. After identifying the wolves' regular travel corridors, wildlife management teams deployed control systems directly along the routes most frequently used by the animals. The new design was intended to hold a wolf without causing injury. Motion sensors and remote monitoring cameras provided continuous surveillance of the area while minimizing human presence, since even a faint, unfamiliar scent could cause a pack to avoid the area for weeks. Every piece of equipment was carefully concealed to blend into the natural landscape and avoid attracting the attention of the most cautious animals. For many nights, the wolves continued to appear while keeping their distance from suspicious locations. They followed fence lines, investigated grazing grounds, and then returned to their usual routes, carefully checking for any changes. The footage revealed that wolves do not rely solely on instinct. They remember terrain features, detect subtle environmental changes, and quickly adapt when they sense danger, making them far more difficult to manage than many other predators. Some nights, they simply observed from a distance and left without approaching the livestock, as if evaluating how safe the area truly was. On the fifth night, the moment everyone had been waiting for finally arrived. Cameras captured the lead wolf stepping onto a narrow trail near a creek, where the equipment had been hidden beneath soft soil and dry grass for days. Just seconds later, the system was triggered. Yet the most remarkable part was not the device itself, but the reaction of the remaining members of the pack. The following morning, the wildlife management team quickly returned to the site. After conducting a safety assessment, they approached carefully. A specialized transport crate was brought close to the location. Every movement was performed slowly to minimize stress on the animal. After only a few minutes of coordinated effort, the wolf was guided into the crate and the door was securely closed. Throughout the process, established procedures were followed to ensure the safety of both people and wildlife. The entire operation was carried out under controlled conditions, minimizing risk for both humans and animals. Once the transport vehicle departed, the wolf was relocated to a designated wildlife conservation area. This was the most important stage of the process because the ultimate goal was not to eliminate wolves from their natural habitat. What ranchers truly wanted was to create a safe buffer between wildlife and livestock operations. By understanding travel routes, daily habits, and the ways wolves adapt to their surroundings, people gain more opportunities to reduce conflict without relying entirely on aggressive measures. The conflict between humans and wolves will likely continue for many years. However, experience from behavior-based management programs has demonstrated that these strategies are far more effective than relying solely on force or constant pursuit. Understanding the opponent allows people to develop more sustainable solutions for both sides. If you enjoyed this story, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to discover more fascinating stories about wildlife and life along the edge of nature.